For the first inaugural race at Gateway for the Cup Series, it had its ups and downs with some downs of like hard to pass and just like barely moving at all throughout the field, and positives with drama throughout the pack, some crazy restarts to a pretty great finish, in my opinion. This race had almost everything a NASCAR fan could enjoy. I bet those St. Louis fans, they got what they deserved for for selling out that crowd today. But we have a lot to talk about after Gateway. Hey guys, NASCAR Mobile 48 back again. We're back to another episode of NRR. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing the 2022 Enjoy Illinois 300 from WWT Raceway, or Gateway, whatever you call it. What a race it was. We had something. It all started out pretty calm in stage one. Briscoe, yeah, he did have a flat tire at the end of the stage from the race lead, and then stage two was just hectic and just calamity, all sorts of crap. And then so was the part of at the beginning of stage three. And then also towards the end of the race, we started to have some really balanced, clean racing, really good racing towards the end with Joey Logano going against Kyle Busch in overtime to end it. So just like in all our other reviews, we're going to review our top 10 finishers, we're going to rate the race, then we're going to look at our biggest story of the race, look at our drivers of the day, and end it off from there. So let's go ahead and dive on into this review. Finishing in first was Joey Logano and the 22 team. Logano gets his 29th career win. This is his second win of 2022. He is the fourth driver to have at least more than one win, and this is also the 18th different track Logano has raced on, which puts him third among active drivers. And he's won everything this weekend except the pole, if you think about it. Top practices, top his groups in qualifying, but then just could not get the pole. But he won the race at the end, and this is also the third time Logano has won an inaugural race. If you think about it, won the LA Clash earlier this season, won Bristol Dirt last season, and wins Gateway today. So really cool for Joey Logano. Like I said, he was fast, started 7th in this race, and he was looking pretty promising at first. He was just kind of mid throughout the race. He definitely had like a top 10 car. He showed up late in this race going against Kyle Busch. And then when it came down to overtime, Kyle Busch sent it a bit too much. Logano took the lead, and then Logano kind of sent it up a bit too much, and they were still going at it. But Logano had the lead at the end and just held on for dear life and was able to get the victory and win the race. Really good for Joey Logano and for Team Penske. Actually, a good day for Team Penske because Will Power just won the Detroit Grand Prix earlier today at Belle Isle, which was technically vengeance from last year's race because he kind of got screwed out of that one. So really good day for Penske overall, and a really good just rebound for these last couple races for Logano, because after he got his win at Darlington, finished 17th at Kansas, finished 20th at the Coke 600, but ends up getting the win here today. So really good by Logano and the 22 team. Finishing second was Kyle Busch. Another strong finish for Kyle Busch. This is now 3 straight top 5 finishes. Finishing third at Kansas, second last week in the Coke 600, and second once again. So 2 straight runner-up finish for Kyle Busch. Still looking pretty dominant in my opinion. He wasn't really that much of a factor in stage 1, but at the beginning of stage 2, he was on the move because he started to do something different. When he would come into turn 1, he only downshifted 1 time and then kept on going. So he was starting to put on something different that was actually benefiting him. And then later throughout the race, he was still hanging on pretty much in the top 5, top 10, still a contender. And then when it came down to him and Joey Logano, Logano actually used Busch up a bit, but Busch didn't have any sort of retaliation. He was still hanging on for the lead, and then ended up Logano winning the race. But still a nice strong day for Kyle Busch and the 18 team. Finishing in third was Kurt Busch. Once again, Kurt Busch just has another strong car. 2311 Racing has been on the rise. Well, except for Bubba Wallace, he's still having issues with his own pit crew, but it wasn't even his pit crew today. He just got dumped by Stenhouse, and Hamlin wasn't happy about that. But back to Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch had a really strong day. He really showed some speed in stage 2, where towards the end of stage 2, he took the lead and was able to get the win in stage 2. I'm pretty sure he had to battle drivers like Truex. I'm pretty sure. I can't really confirm that stage 2 was so long ago. This race was actually pretty long. But anyway, Kurt Busch was still hanging strong. He had fresh tires. entering stage 3, and he was just trying to catch up with the leaders, but like I said, it was hard to pass, so it took a while, but he has a couple cautions come his way. He was able to have some good restarts and make his way up into the top 5, but was not enough to contend with his brother nor Joey Logano. So a strong third place finish for Kurt Busch and the 45 team. Finishing in 4th was Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney, he gets his first top 5 since Bristol Dirt earlier this season, but Blaney had a really strong car, especially towards the end. It didn't really start off that strong for Ryan Blaney. I mean, for instance, in stage 2, he had a tire down and he spun out and kind of hit the wall a bit. Wasn't too much damage. He was still able to continue throughout the race. So ever since that, he was just a man on a mission, just like Kurt Busch, trying to get back up into the top so he could be a mix. And he was definitely one of the contenders because he was trying to catch Amarola and Kyle Busch, but like I said, very hard to pass. But he was still contending up there, trying to make moves, trying to get up there to the race lead, but just wasn't there enough, just didn't have the right track position for him. I mean, if he restarted on the front row, he definitely would have had it, but still a nice strong run for Ryan Blaney and the 12 team, still seeking their first win of the season, as his other 2 Penske teammates, one has one win and another has 2 wins now. And rounding out the top 5 and 5th was my boy, Aric Almirola. What a weekend for Almirola. I mean, he was fast in qualified 8th in this race. He kind of fell back towards the start, but he started to rally back up in the late stages of the race, challenging guys like Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Blaney. He was definitely up there in contention. I mean, literally, he won at New Hampshire last year and stuff, so he's definitely pretty good at these flat tracks if you really think about it. I mean, because for Gateway, turns 1 and 2 is like New Hampshire, but turns 3 and 4 is like Phoenix. So Gateway, you could say, is like a sort of it's like a small flat version of Darlington, the way it's shaped, but it has like turns of like Phoenix and New Hampshire is what I'm trying to say. But still, Almirola was looking really strong in the late part of the race and ended up getting a top 5 finish. Really good for Aric Almirola. This is his first top 10 finish since Martinsville, but his first top 5 finish since the Daytona 500. So really good, strong one by Almirola and the 10 team. Finishing 6th was Truex Jr. Truex Jr. Had a pretty decent car in my opinion. I mean, he started off this race in 13th. He wasn't really the best Toyota or the best car on track, but he was still decently in contention in like the top 10. I mean, he's like I said with like drivers like Almirola and Blaney, he started to show up pretty late in the stages of the race and stuff, and he was definitely in contention. I mean, he was going against Kurt Busch at one point. He was definitely rallying up, trying to see if he could potentially get the win and stuff. He had one of the best tires, but once he was in the lead, one caution came out, and then once some drivers took the 2-tire strategy, that kind of took the win out of the picture. But he was still rallying it up into the top 5, top 10, but still just wasn't enough to get a top 5 or even for a race win. So still a decent race for Truex and the 19 team, and we'll see what happens with Truex for next year, because they said that Truex would be saying something in a couple weeks about his future, because we don't even know if he'll be even racing next year. Finishing 7th was Erik Jones. What a run for Erik Jones and the 43 team. This is what we see from the 43 team. If they could just have a nice clean race with no incidents coming whatsoever, they can finish in the top 10. I mean, this is his first top 10 since Dover, and that was like early last month. So it's been a month and a half since he's been inside the top, or finished in the top 10, but he finally does it. A well put finish for him, and they started like 21st in this race, so really good finish for him. And also just want to shout out for Richard Petty Day on Friday, Bomberito. They were actually handing out like tickets for like the race for like any customers who came in St. Louis. So that's actually really cool. Really good promotion by that sponsor, and just RPM GP or Petty GMS. I keep thinking about that. Yeah, really good promotion by them, but still a nice solid finish by Erik Jones. We got to see some more finishes like this if he wants to point his way in or even contend for a win, but a nice solid finish for the 43 team. And finishing in 8th was Ross Chastain. Man, Ross Chastain had his issues today. First off, he was on the move from the get-go at the start of this race. Then after stage 1, he had his incident with Hamlin and Elliott and stuff, and kind of got held up. Almost got taken out of the race because he was definitely part of an incident with Hamlin when the caution came out, and he had to reach minimum speed. But he finally got past Hamlin, and then he reached minimum speed. It was all good, and he was basically on the move trying to get back into the top 10 because he finished 5th in stage 1, but then finished like 24th in stage 2, and he was definitely on the move from that and ends up in an 8th place finish. So actually, what a comeback for the one car overall and stuff. Let's just hope that Chastain can learn from this and just be careful with who you're racing against. But we'll talk more about Chastain and Hamlin and Elliott at the end of this. Finishing in 9th was Christopher Bell. What a decent run for Christopher Bell as well. I expected him to do a little bit better and stuff because at the start of the race, he was already falling off and stuff. He lost a lot of spots, but then he started gaining some spots back towards the end of the stage. And in stage 2, he wasn't really that much of a show. He was like running like in the top 15. I'm not really sure. And in the final stage, like I said, with like other drivers finishing in the top 10, he rallied back and finished in 9th. So really good finish for him. Also, that is 5 straight top 10 finishes for Christopher Bell dating back to Dover in early May. So really good job from Christopher Bell and the 20 team. And rounding out the top 10 was AJ Allmendinger. What a weekend for AJ Allmendinger. He had to start at the back in Portland after he had some issues, and then he spun out at the beginning of the race, almost got put a lap down from the race leader, but luckily, he was able to stay on, and then just throughout the race, throughout chaos that happened throughout that day, he ends up winning the race after taking the lead away from Myatt Snider, and then he comes back from that day to the next day where Ben Rhodes wrecked his car in practice, and he had started at the back anyway for a driver change, so it wouldn't have made a difference, but still, he said part of the damage, but they fixed it and stuff, and he rallies back from that after he started, I believe he started like 35th, and then gets a top 10. What a weekend for AJ Allmendinger. Just what a weekend. This has to go down in history for AJ Allmendinger as one of the craziest, wildest, greatest weekends of his Cup Xfinity career, or NASCAR career overall, because you can't beat that. You win a race in Portland, and the next day you come out and get a top 10 at a track that you haven't even raced on. Okay, anything is possible in NASCAR, people. Anything is possible. And now let's rate this race. Like I said earlier, Gateway is like New Hampshire, it's like Phoenix and stuff. The shorter ovals, the flat tracks and stuff that haven't really been the best thing to watch this season. I mean, we had that terrible race at Martinsville, that mid race at Phoenix. Dover was okay, but it's not really a flat track, so I'm not sure if I can even count that. Richmond was... Don't even get me started with Richmond. I hate that track with a passion. But anyway, this was definitely the best race on the flat ovals that we've ran on so far this season. It was hella better than Richmond, hella better than Martinsville. It was better than Phoenix. I don't know if it was better than Dover. Maybe a little bit. I'm not really sure. Anyway, but this was a really good race. So in my opinion, I'm going to rate this race a nice, solid... I'm going to give it a 7.7 out of 10. I mean, it was really solid racing. It could have been better, but still with the short oval, it's just hard to pass. I mean, stage 1 was starting to look pretty boring in my opinion. It was starting to look pretty boring. The only big thing that even happened in that was like, we were running, 3 wide, 4 wide, heck, even 5 wide later in the race after some of the restarts. And then Briscoe lost the tire. He had a tire go down at the end of stage 1, Cindric won stage 1, and at the end of the day, Chase Briscoe finished 24th, so that sucks. So I'll give this a 7.7 out of 10. Let me know what you guys would give it in the comment section below. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now it's the biggest story of the race. It's the drama that happened all day. We're going to go rapid fire right here. So it all starts out, Chastain and Hamlin were going against each other. Heck, they were going against each other for a lot of laps, especially in stage 1. And I'm guessing, as Ross Chastain is, just got a bit impatient and then ran into the back of Hamlin. Hamlin went up into the wall, broke his front toe link, and that was basically all she wrote. And Hamlin was not happy. And so later throughout the race, Hamlin was waiting on Chastain, and he literally ran him into the grass, nearly into the grass. Chastain nearly went into the grass down the backstretch, but he was A-okay. And then later, Hamlin was just holding up Chastain. So that drama was happening at that point. But then later on a restart, Chastain got into Chase Elliott on a restart that turned Chase Elliott into somebody, and Chase Elliott had a bit of front damage and stuff, and Elliott wasn't happy. And then Alan Gustafson said on the radio, pay him back better than the 11 tried to. And so, as he did on the next restart, Elliott, he was literally sending Chastain. I mean, he was literally on his back bumper, sent him into the corner, and then just put him up into the wall, and then yeah, Chastain got into the wall, and literally Hamlin made contact with Chastain after he got into the wall. It was basically tag team wrestling, okay? You can't just say it. I mean, Ellie just sent him into the wall. Hamlin made contact with him, and then Hamlin, after that, he was holding up the one car. All of that was happening while Michael McDowell and Eric Amarola were leading the race. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. You literally can't. You just literally can't. But to finish up with Ross Chastain has been just one of those drivers where they drive in over their heads. They're big, too aggressive. You just can't defend them when it comes to this. I mean, Chastain has made some aggressive moves last year. I mean, you can go back to his Xfinity Series career with, like, where he made contact with Kevin Harvick back in 2018 at Darlington. He's also made some aggressive moves, like to Justin Allgaier in the Xfinity race in Watkins Glen of 2019 and stuff. And you could even go back to last year where Chastain got into Kyle Busch at Phoenix, and Kyle Busch wasn't happy with him. And then also Chastain, he didn't wreck anybody, but he was wrecking his own equipment for Chip Ganassi Racing in the doubleheader at Phoenix. He sucked. He literally could have finished better. I mean, he wasn't going to finish that well anyway, but he could have done a whole lot better, but he just drove it under his head, being too aggressive, and just did that. So there's just got to be a time where Chastain just needs to calm down and then just needs to watch over what he's doing, because you can literally mess with the wrong guy. I mean, I want to see Chastain and Logano go after it, but Chastain, he also had some issues earlier this season. I mean, he had that thing with literally your former teammate and colleague. You had that issue with AJ Allmendinger at Coda, but I guess it was justified because Allmendinger moved him out of the way in the first place and stuff, so I guess he had it coming. And then also at Richmond, between Blaney and Chastain. So yeah, there you go. Chastain has had his issues throughout the season so far, even in his career in Xfinity and Cup. So Chastain, I mean, at least he owned up to it at the end. I mean, I heard his interview not too long ago. He said he was going to apologize, but he knows that stuff may be coming his way in the near future and stuff. Hamlin is probably going to get to him. I'm not sure about Chase Elliott. Elliott put him in the wall and stuff, so... And yeah, and that kind of has a bad look on his sponsors, his bad look on his team, Trackhouse. Because when Trackhouse signed him, I was thinking that, I'm not really sure about this. Chastain is a good fit, but Chastain has that tendency to be over-aggressive, driving over his head. But he's still very competitive and a very good race car driver. So that's just my overall take on Ross Chastain. I like Chastain and stuff, but what was coming to him, it was justified. It was well-deserved and stuff. So hopefully Chastain can learn from this. I think Elliott's done with his payback, but I'm not sure about Denny Hamlin. But we'll see in the near future. We're going to Sonoma next week, but Chastain, has he learned his lesson? We'll wait and see. But also some other drama throughout the race. BJ McLeod got into the back of Chase Elliott, and then Elliott hit him back. So I don't know what really that was about. I thought that was some rivalry, but I guess it wasn't. So I just wanted to mention that. But wait, it was not over for Denny Hamlin. It was not over, because Stenhouse literally sent into the corner in turn 3 and then wrecked Bubba Wallace, put him into the wall. Luckily, Bubba Wallace saved it and he didn't hit anything. So Bubba Wallace, his team did say on the radio to go back at him, and then really... I don't think Bubba Wallace was near him and stuff. He didn't pay anything back to Stenhouse, but on the cooldown lap, or not the cooldown lap, but under caution, Hamlin was showing his displeasure to Stenhouse because you literally wrecked Hamlin's driver right in front of him and stuff. So it was justified and stuff. I liked Hamlin was sticking up for his own driver. But hey, later in the race, Stenhouse, he did wreck. Later in the race, he got loose. He hit the wall and he spun out. So that was karma, I'm guessing. Also on pit road, we had that Truex Amarola incident where Amarola was coming out of his pits and he kind of made contact with Truex. He was just trying to get low enough so he wouldn't get into any other cars who are still in the pit's way, because the pit road is very narrow. It's pretty tight, just like Indianapolis and stuff, but it's a bit wider than Indianapolis. So that happened, and Truex showed his displeasure to the back of the to the back of the 10. I mean, literally, I'm talking about all the drama that happened. All the drama that happened. But wait, can you guys let me know down in the comment section below? Because Mike Joy said that Amarola and Truex have a history. I've looked up on YouTube and Google. I do not remember anything about Truex and Amarola going at it. So please let me know down in the comment section below. Have Amarola and Truex had a confrontation or a bit of like bumping to each other before? Because not to my knowledge, I don't know. And then the last one I want to talk about was the penultimate caution where Cole Custer, not Cole Custer, but Todd Gillen got into the back of Cole Custer and shoved him up, and Custer hit the wall pretty hard. So not a really good day for SHR, because like Harvick was the last caution and he hit pretty hard. Thank goodness he's okay. Briscoe struggled after he won the pole, and then Cole Custer got wrecked by an FRM car. So that sucked. But Amarola had a good day, so who cares? But yeah, Cole Custer on his radio, he was not happy with Todd Gillen and stuff. So yeah, a lot of drama from today's race. A lot of drama. Okay, now for drivers of the day. Underdog driver of the day, I'm going to say, was Eric Jones. A nice strong run from Eric Jones, finally finishing a race where he gets another top 10 finish. So I think just more consistent runs like this from Eric Jones to where he can actually finish these races without having to be caught up in someone's mess or wrecking on his own. He can actually point his way into the playoffs or just be more consistent enough to actually contend for wins and stuff. So a nice solid finish for Eric Jones. For unlucky driver of the day, it was Chase Briscoe. I don't know what happened. I mean, he was leading every single lap, and then towards the end of the stage, a tire went down and stuff, and he had to pit. So that was very unlucky for Chase Briscoe. But he did a good job wheeling that thing back into pit road, and that was kind of it. That's all she wrote. So it does suck for Chase Briscoe. Nothing of his own doing. He was starting to make a comeback of his own. He was starting to show up in the top 15 late in this race, but then somehow somebody finished in 24th. So that does suck for Briscoe and the 14 team. He probably fell back from all those crazy wild restarts. And for underdog driver of the day, I'm going to give some credit to Ross Chastain. Amidst all the chaos and calamity and all that hectic crap, he was able to still get a top 10 finish. Still the consistent driver at Trackhouse. I mean, Suarez was definitely running up here pretty well when Chastain was struggling and stuff, but Suarez finished 23rd, right where he started and stuff. But still, comeback driver of the day, got to give it to Chastain. And then finally, overall driver of the day, I got to give it to Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch was pretty strong. I thought, after stage 1, he was one of the strongest drivers out there. Thought he was going to win this race because if you guys think about it, this is, 3 races in a row where we've had the races finish in overtime. The All-Star race at Texas, Blaney won that race because he restarted first, and then we go back to Coca-Cola 600 last weekend. Hamlin was leading at that point in overtime, and he won. And then Kyle Busch, he was leading in overtime, but he did not win. He finished second. The second place driver, Joey Logano, actually won. So that's 3 straight overtime finishes, including the All-Star race, but still unlucky for Kyle Busch. But I thought he was definitely one of the strongest and consistent drivers of the day. So I have to say he's overall driver of the day. But that would do it for today's video. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure you guys are subscribed to my gaming channel, NASCAR Gaming 48. Link will be in the description. Should be uploading a video there tomorrow. I've been getting a lot of views and a lot of subscribers recently, guys. So make sure you guys join. It would really, and I would really appreciate it. Try to get some other content aside from the race reviews. If you want to check out my Instagram, link will also be down in the description below. And subscribe to this channel. Really appreciate you guys. With the views have been up on the reviews and stuff. So I do really appreciate you guys. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today. I'm not gonna be watching the full Sonoma race. I think I'll watch probably the first 45 minutes ish, 30 minutes. Yeah, first 30-45 minutes and stuff, and then I have to do something later, but I should still be watching at the end. But I'll still watch the highlights after the race and then do the review and stuff. And it'll also kind of be the same thing for Nashville, unfortunately. And also just want to mention I will not be headed out to Nashville this year, but more than likely I'll be heading out there next year. It does suck, and the last race I'm going to this season is probably going to be the September Texas race. But hey, I have to show some love for Texas, even though they suck, but whatever. Anyway, that's going to do it for today, so see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed the race. Have a great rest of your day. This is NASCAR Mobile 48. Peace out.